Late Night Health continues. I'm Mark Alyn, along with the insane Daryl Wayne. We're going to be spending some time with Jennifer Flood. She's the founder and executive director of the Flood Sisters Kidney Foundation. We're going to be asking you to vote for the Flood Sisters Kidney Foundation so that they can get a grant, so that they can help people get kidneys when they need them, if they need them, from donors that they don't even know. We'll talk about that a little bit. I'm going to start by saying I want you to visit eaglerarelife.com. That's eaglerarelife.com. There's a little search bar. Type in Flood, Flood, and then you'll see Jennifer and her sisters, and I guess your father's picture is in there too.
Yes.
In there, right?
Yes, he is.
And you can vote for getting this great grant, which will allow the foundation to provide services to more and more people. That's what we're here for today. Jennifer, thanks for joining us.
Mark, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm really curious. Let's talk about your family event. I guess about 10, 11 years ago, your father needed a transplant.
Yes.
And nobody matched. Tell me about that.
That's correct. So it was August of 2007. My sisters and I all got tested. My father was told that he would need a transplant in 6 months, or he would have to go on dialysis. And our father, of course, was not willing to go on dialysis or wait on a long waiting list. His blood type was type O, so it was a very rare blood type. He's the universal donor, so he can only receive from an O donor. So all of us got together. I was a nurse, and we knew the waiting list was not an answer, or dialysis. And we had used Craigslist for so many other things, and it was a success. And we just said, you know what? Let's go on Craigslist and put an ad for Dad in the volunteer section and ask for a kidney donor. So we did just that, and we received over thousands of responses nationwide.
Now,
it was incredible.
Now I can understand getting an office chair on Craigslist, but a kidney,
right?
That's pretty amazing. Now, you had to call through those. Some of the people wanted to be paid. One, you're not allowed to pay anybody. You're not allowed to sell organs. And it's
correct
that way, right?
Right. So there was a mix of people, but we have to say the human spirit out there is amazing. When there's a need, strangers really give back. And it was incredible to see these people that don't even know our family wanting to test for our father.
Yeah, that was amazing to me. I mean, I think it's great. It makes you feel part of the world, you know?
Absolutely.
Right. But there were some trials and tribulations at first.
Yes. So after going through our ad and getting all these people and screening them and finding out their blood type, we now had to send these people to our father's hospital. And at the time, it was one of the hospitals in New York City, and they did not want to accept a stranger donor. They had policies and procedures against altruistic donation, and we had to find a way. We had to find a hospital now that would accept his case. So and we finally did.
You did, and it was just miles away from the first one, was it not?
Absolutely. It was in Westchester County, and that's all they did was living donor transplants as well as cadaver transplants. But one of the chief surgeons was a real supporter of altruistic donation. So it worked out perfect.
And what's the word? What is that called again? The kind of donation?
So the word is altruistic, meaning non-blood relative, non-blood related. Wow,
that's amazing. How long did it take for you to finally get a list of donors? I know that the person who was the donor came from California, where Late Night Health is based.
She did, yes. It took us a whole year and 4 months exactly. And she came from Monterey, California. She She was never an organ donor. She was a blood donor. And she actually was waiting on the sidelines and saying to us, you have enough donors. I'll be your cheerleader. I'll support you on the side, and you guys are good to go. You have donors. And sure enough, as it got closer and closer to testing these donors, they started weaning them off. Ones that were not candidates anymore, and the one that was supposed to donate to our father ended up not being healthy. And we had to go back to the donor in California and make that ask again and really tell her, we need your help.
And she came through for you too.
She did. She was incredible. She said, absolutely. She had to think about it. It was a good month before she got back to us. But after that, she said, I want to do this. I want to save your dad. I was close with my dad, and I see the three sisters and your daughter, your father's grandchild, and I want to do this. I want to save your dad.
Subsequently, after the surgery, I mean, did they do the surgery in Monterey, or did she fly to go to New York?
She flew to New York. The surgery was done here in New York.
So you had the opportunity to meet her.
We did. We met her a week before the surgery.
I have to point out that this is not an easy operation for the donor either, is it? It's major.
Absolutely, it's not. Yeah, it's voluntary surgery. They have to go through an intensive series of testing, and they're giving an organ away. They're not giving blood, which is huge.
No, absolutely, it's huge. The fact is that there are many people who need kidneys, and dialysis is not, well, it's not comfortable, it's time consuming, and it can eventually destroy the body. You're a nurse. Can you tell us about that?
Sure. Most of our patients that are on dialysis, they're fatigued. They go into heart failure from the fluid overload from being on dialysis, fluid being taken off, not too much fluid being taken off. A lot of them are extremely depressed sitting there on the machine. And over time, if they're on dialysis for more than a year, they're now building up antibodies, which is now harder to match them.
Wow. What about, I mean, just the time, how long does it take on average to do dialysis? I mean, is it 2 hours a week, 6 hours a week, several times a week?
So it varies with some patients, but mostly the standard is 3 days a week for 3 hours.
Oh my gosh. How do you, oh my. And we should also point out that dialysis ain't cheap.
It's not. Absolutely not. Very costly.
It is costly. And at the same time, the surgery is also costly.
Yes.
Right? I'm curious, I don't know the answer to this. Did the hospital help in any way financially? Did they do anything for you?
They did not.
They did not. No.
No.
And most hospitals won't?
Right. At the time, even with the donor's flight and, having her in a hotel and a food stipend, that was all the family's expense. There was nothing, no grants at the time or anything, any type of program to assist the family or the donor or the recipient.
Wow. We're looking for two things here on Late Night Health. We're looking for people who want to be donors, of course, and you can contact Jennifer. We'll give that in a minute. There's a website, but the purpose of our interview today is to get people to say, hey, we think this non-knowing donation of a kidney is important, and that the EagleRareLife.com grant should be given to the Flood Sisters Kidney Foundation. And to do that, you go to EagleRareLife.com, EagleRareLife.com. You can vote every day, folks. Once a day, you're allowed to vote. And in doing so, you can extend the life of many people throughout the country. There are, and what you do is go to eaglelife.com. There is a little search bar. Just type in flood. And if you do that, it goes to the Flood Sisters Foundation, Kidney Foundation, so that you can get this grant. Your dad is, how long ago was your dad transplanted?
10 years ago. So he's 78 years old and he has a new lease on life. He never had to go on dialysis. He was very lucky. And
he's also full of vinegar and living life to its fullest?
Absolutely. Yes. All good things.
All good things, which is great. We're wrapping up this first section together, putting together the Flood Sisters Kidney Foundation. Has that brought you closer together, not only with your sisters, but with your dad?
Absolutely. We knew we had to save our dad, and we were on a mission, and we wouldn't stop. And now that we see him healthy again and living the life he, always wanted, healthy, it was so worth it. And now we're doing it for so many other people.
Well, we want you to do it for other people too. EagleRareLife.com, EagleRareLife.com is the place to go. Type in flood. You'll see Jennifer and her family's pictures. Vote for her, and you can do this every day. We want as many votes as possible, okay? More coming up here on Late Night Health.
Welcome to Guide to the Soul. This is Robert Clancy. When you give others a reason to smile through the kindness you bestow upon them, you'll discover the true meaning of gratitude. This is all about knowing you've made some positive change in the world. Volunteering is one of those special ways you can make this positive ripple. Volunteers may be the ones who give of their time, but they're always the ones who make time to give of all their heart. The beauty of love is, even though you can give of yourself wholeheartedly, you still have more love to give away. Love is heaven's charitable cash. That's why you should spend your life giving it all to others. Giving is simply the ultimate gift of receiving.
For more inspiration from Robert Clancy, visit GuideToTheSoul.com or go to the Moments with Robert page on LateNightHealth.com.
The stigma around mental health disorders and suicide is still very strong in our culture. It's an uncomfortable topic for many of us, and yet it's something we can't afford to ignore, according to Dan Shuck, the author of A Glass Half Empty or Half Full, a children's book for grown-ups. Last month, the CDC released a study that reports suicide rates went up more than 30% in half the states since 1999. A Glass Half Empty or Half Full, a children's book for grown-ups, takes a new approach to addressing mental illness. The book playfully explores pessimism versus optimism to find balance, manage stress, and enjoy life. The book uses humor to provide an opportunity to determine the fullness of our own glass and how to apply it to our daily lives. Donations from the proceeds of the book will be made to a Glass Half Question fundraising campaign for the Brain and Behavior Research Foundation. A Glass Half Empty or Half Full, a children's book for grown-ups, is available from Amazon.com, Kindle, and Barnes & Noble. For more information, visit www.glasshalfquestion.com.